Welcome to the Collide Kids podcast, hosted by Christen Clark. This is a show for kids and families. You are going to meet new people and have fun while you listen. Let's do it!
Hey y'all, welcome to the Collide Kids podcast. I'm your host, Christen Clark, and I am so glad you're listening today. The Collide Kids podcast is a show for kids and families where we learn together how life and faith collide. All right, I need you to do something for me. Raise your hand if you are currently in school. Not like right now, but like in this season of life, you are in school. Raise your hand. Okay, now raise your hand if you used to be in school. Okay, now everyone's hand should be raised, right? So let me ask you a question. What was your favorite subject? Wait, did someone just say recess? Okay, I guess that counts. I actually had two favorites, music and art. One of my favorite subjects in school was always art. I just loved painting especially. In fact, I still get to do that sometimes. It's still something that's relaxing and it's something I enjoy. Isn't that interesting that something I loved as a kid is still something that I enjoy? If you're a kid, you might not think that's such a big deal, but I think sometimes as adults, we forget to do the things that we enjoy. So whichever of you adults that shouted recess, I highly encourage you to have a recess time outside today, okay? Well, today my special guest is Clarissa Gibson, and she is very passionate about art as well, and she's going to share that with you a little bit. I want to tell you a little bit about her. She's a wife and a mom, and she's a business owner. In 2014, her family took a giant risk and started working together to refinish furniture under the name Redo Gal. At first, it was just furniture Clarissa chose and painted, but after a while, she mastered her craft and began to get requests from other people with old furniture needing a facelift. The family had always dreamed of opening a store, and in 2016, they were able to open the Gibson Co. The Gibson Co., which actually now has 2 stores, is a representation of their love for home decor, local artists, and the local community. They aim to showcase artists from Georgia and be a small part in helping other creatives live out their dreams. So now here is my conversation with Clarissa Gibson. Well, Clarissa, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I'm so glad to have you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is cool. I'm excited to get to talk to you and for you to share your story with us. Will you just introduce everyone, tell us about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, I am Clarissa Gibson. My husband is Mark Gibson. And we have 2 kids, Adiel and Leela Jean, 7th grade and 4th grade. And they are pretty outstanding human beings. They are a mixture of the 2 of us, which is 200% because they get 100% from me, 100% from my husband. So they're 200% passionate beings. So yeah, I need to stay very close to Jesus because they're a lot.
Yeah.
In a good way.
In a good way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is your job? Like, what do you do?
Yep. So we own the Gibson Co, which is, we have 2 locations now. One is a gift store incoming, and then another one is more of a home decor store in Alpharetta, Georgia. And so, yeah, we try to keep unique giftables and home decor, and we kind of, we pride ourselves on giving back to the community in that we have artists in our store that are, creative. So they're that other 100% type people too, where they are making things and then putting it in our store to be sold to the community. So a lot of what our customers shop, what they buy goes back into the community, which was our goal from the very beginning.
That's very cool. That's a good thing, especially now and all the things that are happening in the world. It's so good to be able to put those finances back into the community. So that's good.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to find out a little bit more about what you do, like how you got started and what you do. So, but before we do that, we have to do something fun. This is a kids podcast, of course. So we have to start with like a joke or a funny impression. So I hear you have a really good impression of someone famous.
Yeah. Okay. So, I grew up kind of listening to Britney Spears, which kids now are like, what? Who is that? But there is that song, Oops, I Did It Again. And in the beginning, she says, oh, baby, baby. So I've got that little portion that sounds like her. So
okay,
are you ready?
Let's hear it.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, baby, baby, how was I supposed to know? That's all I got.
Wow. I thought Brittany took your phone and
Listen,
that was amazing.
She's
just like
actually
her.
here right now.
That's awesome. Wow. What a gift. What a gift you have.
I mean, yeah, it's gotten me places. I mean, really.
That's cool. That's so fun. All right. Well, would you tell us about like how you got started? You know, you have 2 stores right now, but you didn't start with 2 stores. Like, how did this all get started for you?
Yeah, I was actually teaching preschool. So I had 2 little kids, and then I worked with little kids, which I actually prayed and asked God not to ever make me do, which is why you can't do that. You just go wherever he kind of leads you, right? And so I do like kids, but I, like little tiny ones. It's hard to have your own and then work with kids too.
Right.
And so anyway, I was working at preschool and I was so exhausted, and I was supposed to renew my contract with them for the summer. And I told Mark, I can't do it. I just can't. I'm too tired. I'm lacking on giving my own kids the attention that they need. And so I had this desire to do what was in my mind, to do what was in my heart, and not work for somebody. And I was really good at painting furniture. Very simple thing, very cost effective, hardly any overhead, which is basically means that it doesn't cost a lot.
Yeah.
And so my husband was like, just do that. And I was like, okay. Now you have to remember, my husband he's mom. Okay. My husband is mom. So he does laundry, dishes, kids, all lunches, all that. I don't even know how to turn on the dishwasher. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a real big thing in our family. And so, and I'm not going to learn now, but that's neither here nor there.
It's too late at this point.
It's too late in the game. So, he was watching the kids. I've always been the worker. I love it. And so anyway, I didn't go back to teaching, and I started painting furniture, and I got this clientele because it was right at the boom of the DIY thing. Mm-hmm. And so I would buy furniture, paint it, resell it, or I would have people bring me their furniture. I'd paint it and give it back to them, and they'd pay me for it. I had so much business that I was like, I could stock a small store with the furniture that I'm finding. And then I could get all my talented friends to help me stock the store with all of their crafts,
Yeah.
And so we found this little cottage, and that was our very first store. I mean, the rent was nothing. Looking back on it, it was everything. And
I went there. I remember that.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Well, you're a reason why we are where we are. So thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was, so we stayed there for almost 2 years. And then we were at the point where we were busting out of the seams there and figured that it was time to go big or go home. Thank God we had, it in us to do that. So we did that. And then that's where we're at now. That's kind of the gifty store with lots and lots of artists. And then as I started growing this, we got the opportunity to start doing some design and decor. And so that just spiraled, it's like we were talking when you didn't press play about like, I want to do everything when I grow up. What do you want to be when I grow up? I want to do everything. Well, it just happens that I get to do everything.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So I do design. And then I was like, well, the other store would be great because then it could kind of be a showroom for my design clients. And it spiraled from there. And we still have really big dreams of where to go from here, but we take it one day at a time.
That's awesome. So, okay, I remember earlier you just said that it's really easy to paint furniture. Okay, by the way, it's not easy to paint furniture. It's easy
Right?
maybe for you.
For me. Yeah,
So, how did
exactly.
you figure out that
Exactly.
that was something you were good at?
Yeah, I remember the first things that I got. My mom found these chairs on the side of the road, and they were really cool retro chairs, but they were kind of an orange wood, and I was like, nah. So I painted them white and reupholstered them, and I was like, oh, this is kind of easy. And then I started going to like Pottery Barn and looking at their wood finishes and their paint finishes, and I just kept practicing on pieces of wood until I came up with like that distressed, at the time, shabby chic,
Mm-hmm.
chippy paint look. And I was like, okay, so I'm like really fast at this and really good at this. This is my lane,
Yeah, that's
you
cool.
know?
So then it turned into like your friends just finding out about your your gift of painting
Yeah.
furniture. So how did they find out about that? You just started telling a friend?
Yeah. Well, they would see stuff that was in my house. And then, for like get-togethers and small groups and stuff like that. And then I think it was just straight up word of mouth and, friends being content with the services. And I mean, at the time, it was a great way to save money because you don't have to get brand new furniture. And so, I really actually relied on the relationships that I've built over the years to help me get this thing started and trust me to paint their furniture and then tell their friends about it, which is like super important, to be humble enough to just let your friends help you build
Yeah.
something. It's
Yeah.
so hard. I'm telling my daughter that right now. She started a little kids jewelry business. I
Oh,
mean,
cool.
she just had a festival the other day, and it was like, over the weekend, and she rocked it. It was crazy. But I'm like, you need to tell your friends. I tell grown adults this too, that I work with artists. Tell your friends. I think
Um,
that's the whole thing where, you treat others the way you want to be treated. It sounds kind of far, but it's not. It's just that's what you do for people, and then they will do that in return one day. You don't do it for
absolutely.
return. It just happens because that's friendship.
Right, exactly. And when we're always thinking of other people and we don't realize how much we help not just that one person, but the people around them as well. So the more we can extend
Absolutely.
ourselves, the better. I think that's great. So now so it turned into like, I figured out I'm good at painting furniture to having a store.
Yeah.
What did you like about having a store?
Well, it was fun for me because I just enjoy people.
Uh-huh.
And so, I can be around people. Like, that's just how I get my energy, from
Mm-hmm.
other people. And I mean, I didn't always want a store. It was kind of like, it kind of fell in my lap. I mean, it really did. I didn't know anything about it. I just asked the Lord to give me the tools, and, people around me that know what they're doing are willing to learn with me. And then, the money to do it and all of that. And then you just end up figuring it out. But what I've enjoyed about the store is that, I like being around people at the end of the day, whether that's my team or customers or anything like that. It's fun. It's just, it's a whole big element that I never expected that I absolutely love. I love what I do.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's so cool that it wasn't something you even started with or had an idea about. Like you didn't go to how to run a store school when you're in college.
Right. No, I did. I mean, I went to, let's see, I did, I thought I wanted to do psychology, and then I was like, ew, I have my own issues. Why am I going to you know, I mean, not that I don't want to help people with theirs, but not as a profession. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
get paid to help people with with their issues,
It just helps you realize what you need.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
but in a sense you really get to do that in your
I
store. You
do.
really do
I
get to
do.
connect with people and that.
I do, which is so funny. I mean, it's just, I mean, I never knew what my desire was. I just asked him to give it to me, what do I want to do with my life? I don't know. You don't have to know that. I think that's the beauty of it. You can set your eye on a goal. I want my kids to do that too. But at the end of the day, if you don't know what that is, ask him what that is.
Yeah.
And then just keep on that path that feels right, because if it feels right, it's most likely him. And then see what happens.
Right. You have to take a risk. Yeah. We were saying earlier, like when I was a kid, I wanted all the jobs. Like I thought all of them sounded fun. So
exactly, they do.
Yeah. Like you kind of want to try some things out and figure out what you're good at. And that's, that's kind of part of it, is you just have to try it. It might be scary or it might make you feel nervous, but you still have to try it. We'll be right back after this. Raising kids in the digital age isn't easy, but Bark Technology makes products that help parents keep their kids safe online and in real life. They have an app, a phone, and a home device that lets families set parental controls on their internet-connected devices. I love the app because it helps us manage screen time and blocks websites and apps we want our kids to avoid. It also sends alerts and gives us the ability to monitor texts and social media and even track your child's location. Visit bark.us to learn more about how you can keep your kids safe online. Use the code COLLIDEKIDS to get 15% off your subscription of the Bark app.
Yeah. And you have to be consistent too. That's another thing that I even tell my artists that too. Like, you can't try it for 2 days. It takes time, and that's a hard concept for younger kids too, but when you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you get better at it.
Right. It's good to fail. It's good to mess it up.
I have failed so many times. I still fail. And my husband keeps having to remind me, like, that ain't bad. That just means that you're getting better at the desire that the Lord gave you so that you can help other people.
That's good. Yeah. I heard a devotional a couple days ago where they said, God is so good at recycling, meaning that God is so good at taking the things that we've messed up with and he uses it for his glory, or he takes the things that were bad in our life and he uses it to help others. So he's so good at recycling. I love that.
Yeah, I can think of many examples of that in my life.
Yeah.
Especially in business.
Yeah. So you were talking about how God gives you the desires of your heart. That sounds a lot like a Bible verse. Is that your favorite verse?
Yes, it actually came from my mom. And she put that in my soul just by saying it so much. When I was frustrated or exhausted, I have lived on that, and I've just given all of my desires, to him. Even though I don't see what the process is a lot of the time, I just have to trust that I'm going where I want to go, but in his way.
Yeah.
Psalm 37:4, delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. So when you delight, you're humble, you have your hands open and you're willing to receive what the Lord puts inside of your hands. Delight yourself in the Lord. It means wake up with joy, which is super hard for me, but you got to try to delight. Delight is happy, right? Mm-hmm. Be happy in knowing that he is guiding you to where he wants you to go. Wow. Such a hard concept. Yes. I mean, really.
It is.
It's harder than painting furniture. I can tell you that much. But and you don't have to know what that desire is. As long as you wake up with the delight, the desire will come. The skill will come just based off of your delight.
That's so true. And we've been created, like God's created each of us with unique passions and talents and abilities. Some of them we have to discover later in life, and some of them we know right away. And so we just have to lean into those things and keep stepping through. So can you think of an example where you really saw this in your life?
It happens every single day. I mean, I know that sounds cheesy, but I'll give you this, and this is a really big thing, but it's my kids. I mean, aside from business, aside from what I wanted to be when I grow up, aside from the fact that he provides what I need. All I ever wanted to be was a mom. And, you get kind of in the thick of motherhood, that you forget that, like, wow, I have what I wanted. I have these kids and they're crazy and they fight and they talk back and, they have appointments and sports and all of that. But, I have kids that are eager to learn, and I have kids that have a bright future, which they all do. So nobody's exempt from being grateful for that. Our kids have a bright future, and that is, I delighted myself in the fact that he was going to make me a mom one day. Even from when I was a little girl, I used to pray, please don't come back. Please don't come back until I have kids and I get married.
Oh, I think we all prayed that for a while.
Well, hey, that was the desire of my heart.
Yeah, that's so good. Well, so do your kids ever help in the store or do stuff with your business?
Yes, all kids love using a cash register. I don't know what it is, but you see the plastic toys when they're little, and every single kid loves to use a cash register. And so if they learn how to do it, and they, typically they're in the store playing hide and seek, which drives me crazy, and they know it. But as exciting as it seems to some other kids, it's a little much for them, because they're like, yeah, I do this all day, every day.
Yeah, that's so fun.
But yeah, they will certainly have that business gene inside of them.
That's good. That's a good thing. And your daughter makes jewelry, right?
Yeah. She makes kid jewelry with like little animals on the ends, and earrings with like piggies and hearts. And yeah, she just looks at something and executes like on the first time most of the times. It's crazy. She's a wild girl like that. She just puts her mind to it and gets it done. I mean, she's gonna do crazy things. It's gonna be good stuff. I'm gonna ride her.
Awesome. Yeah. When you can sell all her stuff in your stores, right?
Which is actually the plan.
Yeah.
Which is funny. She was like, well, I can't sell jewelry for a living when I grow up. And I was like, you better believe you can. If it's paying your bills, you can do whatever you want.
That's right.
And it makes you happy.
Right. It's something you enjoy to do. You're delighting in what God's given you. Yeah.
And then he gives you the desire, which is to support your family with it. I don't see the problem in that.
Yeah. So good. Well, this has been awesome. I really appreciate you being on the show and telling us all about having a store and being creative and using the things that God gives you. That's really cool. Before we close out the show, I like to ask my guests to tell us a memory from when they were a kid. So do you have a memory from your childhood you want to share?
Yes, I'll never forget it. I was in the cafeteria and we were lining up. I want to say I was probably in 5th or 6th grade. And I was wearing the little like platform, the black platform sandals with the elastic top. And then they had like the thick platform. Mm-hmm. And I mean, again, I have to remind everybody that I'm a little bit on the cuckoo side. And so I don't know why, but I was doing this dance like with my best friend because we were silly. And the teacher had told us to calm down and we didn't. And I fell on the floor in front of the entire cafeteria, which it was a private school. So there were like older kids in there and everything. And I am scarred for life. I will never do a dance in platform shoes ever again.
That's good.
I'm not even going to buy platform shoes anymore.
Yeah. Cause that memory, it triggers that.
It does. I can smell the chicken nuggets and like Lysol wipes.
Yes. Wow. Everyone's cafeteria smelled like that, didn't it?
I can't take it. I can't take it.
That's so funny.
It does something to me.
That's awesome. Yeah. So be very careful to
Yes.
dance in those platform shoes. Those are dangerous weapons for sure.
Just stay away from platforms in general.
Yeah. Just wear regular shoes.
Yep. Exactly. Life lesson.
Especially if you're in 5th grade.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Guys, I mean, you can learn so much from me about platform shoes and being in 5th grade, apparently.
Right. There you go. The life lessons we've learned today. It's been so good.
Exactly. You're welcome.
Well, Clarissa, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show and for doing this.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, you have a great day.
Okay, you too.
Wasn't that so fun? What a great reminder she gave us today to go where God leads you. Do the things you love. What are the things that you love to do? Maybe you could do that one day and get paid for it. Why not? I love when she was sharing about treating others the way you want to be treated. I think we hear this a lot when it has to do with showing kindness instead of bad behavior, or don't be rude to your brother or sister. But I love that she saw treating others the way you want to be treated also has to do with helping other people succeed and giving encouragement and then receiving that encouragement also. And I love when she said, you can't just try something for a couple days. You have to keep at it, make mistakes, and recognize that you are getting better at the desire God has given you. So good. Well, now it's time for the kids only segment. This is always my favorite part of the show. This is where you get to be on the podcast. So I'd like to introduce you to my friend Jaxson.
Okay, so this verse is going to be my school verse for the year. Philippians 3:14. I press on toward the goal for the prize of the upward calling of God in Christ Jesus.
Wow, I press on towards the goal. And that goal is a better relationship with God, for sure. What a great verse. Thank you for sharing that with us today, Jaxson. That was perfect to go along with what we talked about today. Well, I'd love to hear from you as well. If you'd like to be on the podcast, I'd love to hear your favorite joke or your favorite Bible verse or your school verse for the year like Jaxson shared. Or maybe you have a question or something you want to share about the podcast. I'd love to hear all of that. You just have to go to my podcast website. It's anchor.fm/collidekidspod. And on that page, there's a place for you to leave me a message. If you need more information about this, you can find all this information on my social media pages. I'm on Facebook at the Collide Kids Podcast or on Instagram at Collide Kids Pod. And don't let me forget to share that you can check out the Gibson Co.'s website. It's shopthegibsonco.com, shopthegibsonco.com. That was really hard, but I did it. I'm so proud of myself. You can also go to their Facebook pages and Instagram at the Gibson Co. So definitely go and check out their stuff. It's really interesting and really cool. Well, if you are enjoying this podcast, it would mean so much to me if you would tell someone about it. You can share it with your friends and family, send them the link, share it on your social media pages, any way that you could get it out there to let people know that you're enjoying this podcast. You can also subscribe to this podcast so that new episodes will automatically load each week into whatever podcast app you're using. And give us a rating and a review. That actually helps other people find out about the show so they can listen too. Well, I hope this conversation today has inspired you to follow your dreams. What are those things you're good at? Or are there things you really enjoy doing? Well, if you aren't sure, ask God to show you, and He will. And then maybe ask your mom or dad or a good friend. I'm sure they could give you some ideas. In case no one has told you today, let me be the first to remind you, God loves you so, so much. Thanks for listening.
You don't have to go very far looking for bad news because somehow it just finds you. So finding peace in the chaos can be really difficult, but it doesn't have to be because the River mobile app exists. The River is a Christian music radio station dedicated to playing music to help you get through life's toughest moments or life's happiest moments and everywhere in between. And all from artists who love Jesus and are real people just like you. Listening is easy. You can download it wherever you get apps from. Just search 1049 The River or listen online at riverradio.com. And know that The River is proud to partner with the Collide Kids podcast.